Games have a way of world building that has been attracting players to them for decades. Modern-day video games come with hundreds of unique levels, intriguing characters, and mind-blowing graphics. So the transition to TV screens is quite effortless, in the form of films and series. Today we'll be discussing some games that we think Netflix should turn into TV shows. Stay tuned. Before we move on to what series Netflix should adapt from games, let's take a look at the game adaptations the streaming giant already has in its library. Starting with The Witcher. The most famous of such series has to be the recent phenomenon known as The Witcher. Based on the books of the same name, the stories first gained popularity when its video game launched in 2007. The games amassed a huge fandom, which translated into an already established base for the 2020 Netflix adaptation, following the characters from the story. Next, we have Arcane. Arcane is arguably the game adaptation of all game adaptations. The game is set in the world of League of Legends, specifically the small sister cities of Piltover and Zaun in a world called Runeterra. The creatives at Riot Games spent a good amount of time with French animation studio Fortiche to craft a story that would be immersive for both fans of the game and viewers who are completely new to the world. And now for Castlevania. Another stunning piece of animation is Netflix's adaptation of Castlevania. The video game it was based on was known for being the origin of the Vania part of Metroidvania, a genre of side-scrolling video games that players play by navigating a labyrinth that opens up more the farther you go into the game. The series follows the third volume of the game in particular over a number of seasons that include just the right amount of action sequences, complex characters, and some good old lore. Netflix also has a bunch of other game adaptations that have garnered great praise and viewership over time. These include Minecraft Story Mode, Dota Dragon's Blood, Wakfu, and Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Now that we know which games have already received Netflix adaptations, let's discuss a few games that should join the roster. First up is Mass Effect. With a deep lore and incredibly complex characters, Mass Effect has the potential to become a modern-day Star Trek. The game follows the Reaper's attempts to destroy all organic life, and admittedly, that sounds heavy. But the series doesn't necessarily have to follow the game's storyline. The beauty of Mass Effect is that it has so many aspects that Netflix could choose one of its numerous other subplots, like human coexistence with other races like the Asari, Turians, and Solarians in the Citadel, or the Geth and Krogans facing extinction. There's so much content to play around with. Another reason for Mass Effect to be on top of the list is a deal reportedly being struck with Amazon for the game's rights, which means it could end up on Prime Video, unless Netflix swoops in with a better deal. Next, we have God of War. Creative director of video game developer Santa Monica Studio, Cory Barlog, agrees with us on the fact that God of War would be a good fit for TV. With enough gods and monsters to satiate any fantasy buff, God of War has the potential to become an epic fantasy series, complete with well-rounded characters and plot lines. And get this, such a series isn't really that far from reach. Following Sony's release of the Uncharted movie and HBO's decision to take on The Last of Us, God of War would be the next logical project for Netflix to pick up, especially in response to Amazon's foray into the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And now for Metroid. Historically, Nintendo games have been untouchable when it comes to TV adaptations, but with a Mario movie coming out soon, it seems like the franchise is rethinking its policies. Good for us. While most Nintendo characters and franchises may be more beloved than Metroid, none has the deep backstory or fleshed out characters to appeal to older audiences like it does. Samus Aran's life story could be developed into a TV plotline, and with Nintendo more open to adaptations right now, it would make sense for Netflix to dive in and secure the rights to this beloved game heroine's story. Up next is Gears of War. Rumors of a Gears of War Netflix original film has already been circulating, with big names like Dave Bautista and Terry Crews connected to the project. The game doesn't have a critically acclaimed storyline, but the universe does have potential. A Gears of War movie would be more along the lines of tons of action and mindless violence, including decapitating aliens with chainsaws. But there's nothing wrong with watching an actor with bulging muscles punch the light out of the extraterrestrial once in a while. Besides, now that Halo is on Paramount Plus, Netflix has the perfect window to put in a bid for Microsoft's biggest franchise and make Dave Bautista's gory alien-killing dreams come true. Just don't tell Drax we put you up to it. And finally, Deathloop. One of the most critically acclaimed games of 2021, Deathloop had to make it onto this list. The game follows the main character Colt in a quest to kill 8 characters and free his island from being stuck in a time loop. The game's ending wasn't appreciated much, but Netflix could fix that. With lots of action sequences and a strong enough concept but only a single game out at the moment, the streaming giant has just enough to work with for a limited series or film, but we think either would do well. While we await these games' TV adaptations, we're just going to keep on gaming. Oh, and let's take a look at some related news too, starting with a Ghostbusters animated series is in the works. Ghostbusters is one franchise that keeps on giving, and now there's a new animated series in development at Netflix. The series is being directed by Jason Reitman, who's also filling the role of executive producer along with Gil Keenan. The duo from Ghost Corps Incorporated has also recently co-written the Ghostbusters Afterlife live-action feature, which won critical acclaim and reportedly grossed nearly $200 million on a budget of $75 million. So the series is in good hands. The project will be the third animated series in the Ghostbusters franchise, following The Real Ghostbusters, which aired on ABC 1986 to 1991 and had a total of 140 episodes. It followed the events of the original Ghostbusters film. Extreme Ghostbusters followed it with 40 episodes and a largely new array of characters in a team led by Egon Spengler. The new animated series plot details are currently being kept under wraps, and no writer has been attached to the project as of now. Next, The Sandman's new trailer drop ends with release date announcement. Netflix's adaptation of Neil Gaiman's beloved The Sandman is much closer than we thought. The project's latest trailer release tells the story of an anthropomorphic, timeless being who rules the Dream Realm. The titular character, Dream of the Endless, played by Tom Sturridge, is on the precipice of freedom from his 75 years of imprisonment at the hands of mortal occultists. In his absence, the realm of dreaming, a reality made of the dreams of all living creatures, has become a broken, warped world of decay with ghoulish nightmares like Corinthian having free reign to corrupt people's minds. The series will follow Dream's struggle for freedom, followed by his efforts to bring dreaming back to its former glory. The series hits Netflix on August 5th, and we, along with other impatient Neil Gaiman fans, can't wait to feast our eyes on it. And lastly, the School for Good and Evil teaser trailer is out now. The Paul Feig directorial by the name of The School for Good and Evil is a star-studded project headed to Netflix soon. The film is based on the events of the YA fantasy book series of the same name written by Soman Chainani. The story follows two best friends called Sophie and Agatha who discover the magic school where fairy tale legacies go to come into their own. Sweet, docile, and princessy Sophie just knows she'll get into the School of Good, which boasts alumni like Cinderella and Snow White, while grim and wicked little Agatha is gunning for the School of Evil and all its villainous gentry. However, their fates are reversed and things start going topsy-turvy. The Netflix adaptation stars Charlize Theron and Kerry Washington, along with Sophia Wiley and Sophia Ann Caruso playing the friends Sophie and Agatha. The teaser trailer doesn't show much, but is narrated by Theron before hers and Washington's characters are revealed in all their glory. The final shows Wiley and Caruso characters being carried off towards the school by a magical bird. So we don't see much, but what we do see is pretty fantastic. A release date for the project has not been announced as of yet, but according to sources, we can expect a fall premiere. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these game adaptations would you binge first if they all came out on the same day? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.